have done this. Oh. Sorry.
That'd be lovely.
Sorry, just give me a heart attack. I know that some of you on here will have done this activity with us many times, but you will know that I bang on about the fact that we cannot overdo this, and it's something that we do regularly ourselves. And I want you to, we're going to take a look at the dream wheel. It's so important in terms of our human. This falls into our human category, and this is us taking a look at our human self, where we are now, and how kind of fulfilled and purposeful our life feels right now. So what I'd like you to do, if you have pen and paper, awesome. If you don't have pen and paper, that's cool. Grab your phone and open the notes, and we can do it that way. So if you have pen and paper, I'm going to ask that you can draw me a little star like this. If you don't have pen and paper and you're just doing it from a phone notes, just bear with me a moment and I'll tell you how you can dive in. Jodie's dancing to something. And what I would say is we are not about just kind of creating a business or space where you are reliant on us. There's lots of kind of gurus out there that will make you become reliant on them so that it's continual business, and we are not about that at all. We're all about kind of giving you the tools to empower yourselves and move forward, and you do not need us. Having a coach and people to work with is probably a fast track to where you want to go, but that's not to say that you couldn't get there without us. So what we will do is give you the tools so that even when you're not on a call with us like this, or if you're doing any kind of one-to-one or group sessions with us, you don't necessarily need us to move forward or to assess stuff because you already have the tools. So the dream tool for me is the perfect tool for when you are feeling overwhelmed, stuck, lost, lack of clarity, miserable, don't know what I want from life, and actually, what am I even doing here? You feel any of them things, and I want you to remember my voice and say, pull out the dream wheel. And the dream wheel is like, if I'm living the dream, everything's going to be perfect, but that's not life. Let's move on. So what I want you to do is at the end of every single spike here, we're going to write a category, okay? And they're going to be categories that resonate with you in your life that you find important. So there is one non-negotiable I'm going to give you, and that is fun. So I want everybody to write at the end of one of your spikes the word fun. And that's important. The reason I'm making that a non-negotiable is because I think that as adults, we often sometimes really disconnect from that inner child. We get so serious and we forget to actually have fun, or we don't even know what fun looks like for us anymore because fun isn't what it was when we were 17 or 18 or 19. So it's a non-negotiable. And if when we come to mark that off, you're like, oh, I don't know what's fun, just make a note of that, and I want you to take it as a task for you to go out and explore what fun looks like for you. So the next, I'm going to read some categories out, and not all of them are going to feel like they resonate with you. If they do, I just want you to write them at the end of one of the things. So friends, if friends and spending time with friends is important to you, write it at the end of one of your stick things. And family. Finances. So now some of you might go, oh, I don't want to do finances because I don't want to look there, or I need to work on my money mindset, or whatever that is. But we all need money to exist. And if we're thinking about money in terms of it just being an exchange of energy and a currency of energy, we will explore that further, not tonight, but actually finances is really important. So just recognize what's coming up for you as and when we're saying these things, because I know that my money mindset I had to work on really hard. So for me, I probably wouldn't have included it because I thought I don't want to work on my relationship with money. and my finances. So it is an important one, and it's a really good thing to reflect on and look at. Personal development or spiritual development are separate. I have them as two separate things. You might think that it's just development and growth as one thing, or you might actually break them down into personal development, spiritual development. If you into doing any kind of, me and Lisa do mediumship development, that for me would fall under our spiritual growth. Personal development would be things like my money mindset and working on the kind of real human level of me, not my spiritual gifts. But for you, it might all be under one. Do what feels right for you. Contribution. If that's important to you, giving back, giving to charities, giving to others, sharing time with people that need it. Contribution. Travel is always on mine, and I know that the world isn't how it was a couple of years ago, but it's still important for me to get away. So even if it is just an hour down the road, that fills my soul up. It makes me feel good, gives me that freedom that I love. So if travel is important to you, travel could be one. Has anyone still got spikes left? Yeah, 2. Jodie's got 2. Okay. Experience. So experience in life. I'm trying to think of what one yours might be. You might have religion. I'm not sure that would be right for you. Education, learning. Fitness. Well done, Rich. Tell that's not on mine. Damn. Yeah, health, mental health, physical health, eating out, is that one? What is an important category in your life? As any what was I going to say, like freedom, that's important to me. When I feel overwhelmed, sexual health, yes, Lisa, thanks for pointing that out. When I feel overwhelmed, I put freedom on mine, because when I feel overwhelmed, it's probably because I don't have freedom. If you see me and Lisa when we're sitting and planning our year ahead or our quarter ahead, and we've got our diary out and our calendar out, and we're literally like, mark this training in here and this workshop here, and we're at this event here, and we're holding this circle here, I get these little heart palpitations, and Lisa's like, it's okay, you're not giving up all your time, because I really value freedom. Like if the sun's shining, there's a nice sunset, I want to go at the beach, and I can't be doing that if I'm working all day every day. So that's a challenge for me. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, there's a good chance I haven't experienced that feeling of freedom that I could get in 5 minutes by simply standing with my feet on the sand. So maybe that's something that you resonate with. Do we have anybody with spikes left still? Are we good? Are we full? We're full. It's not a real word, is it? Okay, so once you've got your thing full, and as you grow and change, if you've done this again in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, 12 months' time, your categories might change. That's okay. As you grow and change, it will change. This in the middle, I don't know if you can see, in the middle of where your spikes meet is 0. At the end where your words are is 10. What I want you to do is look at each category without overthinking, mark off where you would rate that category right now in terms of fulfillment. So 10 is absolutely living the dream. This area is perfect and I couldn't ask for anything more. And in the middle is 0, like I'm getting no fulfillment from this area right now. It's not how I want it to look at all. And I would say don't overthink it. Just literally like take fun. Okay, my fun is probably at a 6, right? Okay, X on a 6, and just mark where you think 6 would be. All right, 6. Lisa says sleep 4. That's what happens when you have a baby. 4. 4's high for you though, I think, Lisa. We're good. We're good. I'm going to give you a moment of quiet because I'm aware that my chattering might get in the way of your thinking. And what I think is important to mention is that this isn't about if a lot of your scores are at a 3 or a 4, or there's some areas where you're like, family too, because I've been working all the time. This is not about beating yourself up. This is not an activity to make you feel shit. Come at it with full-on acceptance and compassion, and it is what it is syndrome. Not in a negative, like, it is what it is, I can't do anything. Just like, this is where I'm at now, but actually, we're going to change that. So do not use this as a tool to beat yourself up on any of your scores. Full on compassion towards self, like, okay, I get it, and acceptance. And I know that's so easy to say because the inner critic will start, but that is kind of the intention that I'd like you to set. And then when you're ready, I'm going to hand over to Lisa for the next part of human.
Okay, so pick one of your spikes. Doesn't have to be the lowest score, just one that means the most to you, one where you want to see the most improvement in your human experience. Because it's all well and good working on our soul cells. You know, I'm all about the soul and past lives, but we came here for this human experience, and we're here a little while, so we might as well get the best human experience that we can. Pick one of those spikes. Now, we're going to go for the uncomfortable one. I want you to think about something on that spike that you would like, but you think you can't have or can't do. So for me, if it was fitness, it would be pull myself up. I'd love nothing more than to get on monkey bars and pull myself up. There's not a chance in hell. That would be my, I can't do that. Like, I cannot pull my body weight up by my arms. I'd bloody love to. Like, that's on my vision board. Not really taking any action towards it, but it's on there. So right now, I can't do that. That's my narrative. I can't pull myself up by my arms. So I want you to think of something that you can't do, but you'd like to. Now, there's one really easy way that I can change my statement from an I can't do this in this human experience. Has everyone got one before I jump on? Or rather, anyone definitely not got one? Looks like we're good. Everyone has. Okay. So you've got something you can't do. What I want you to do now is just write down on your notes, on your piece of paper, how can I do? And then whatever you want to do. So how can I pull my own body weight up? How can I do that? Well, guess what? I could get the weights that I bought several years ago from upstairs and start using them every single day just to build up strength in my arms. I could do that. I could do that every day. So that I can't lift myself up. Change to a how can I lift myself up? That's one thing I can do every single day. Very easy. I don't even have to have the weights. If I didn't have the weights, I'd have got a tin of beans to start with. Use the tin of beans to build my arms up and tone them a little bit. So how can you achieve that thing that you can't? And I want you to pick something that you can do every single day. And then if you're able to, and don't worry if you can't, I want you to pick something that you can do in 6 months, once you've been doing this thing every day. So right now, I can't even do the monkey bars. You know, when you move across in a play thing. I actually can't, because again, it's holding my own weight up. But in 6 months, I could think, if I'm doing weights every day, I might not be able to pull myself and my whole body weight over the bar, but I could at least do 1 or 2 moves of the monkey, whatever you call them, where you swing across and pull. That could be a 6-month goal for me. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that in 6 months would be able to pull their own body weight up, but I'm being realistic for myself here. Everyday weights, 6 months, I can go on the play thing and enjoy moving across. In 12 months, if I take daily steps and a medium term goal, it doesn't even have to be 6 months, but for me in my head, if I want to change something in a year, I'm looking at daily action, I'm looking at a midway point, and I'm looking at an end of the year. So in 12 months, if you're taking daily action and medium-term action, how are you going to know you've got to that goal? Or is there a step in between? And this is to help with something on your spikes, but it's also to flip that switch in your head, to flip that inner voice and that inner critic. Anytime you think to yourself, I can't do that, you're going to flip it in your head instantly to, how can I do that? Because for me, that subtle shift was one of the biggest changes. I mean, I'm a stubborn mule anyway. Someone tells me I can't, I'll dig my heels in. I'll dig my heels in. If I go red in the face and I can't breathe, I'll dig my heels in. But what we wouldn't accept from others, we quite easily accept from ourselves. So whenever you think, I can't, flip that switch to, how can I? And if anybody's got any questions on that or wants anything, just throw it in the chat. And I'll hand you back over to Helen for some sexy cat stuff. You're on mute.
Of course I'm on mute, of course. Technology today, geez Louise. I was just giving it a couple of moments, see if anybody was dropping anything in. I think it's so important that we use the dream wheel to assess, because sometimes it's just one area, when you're like, everything feels like it's going to shit, but actually it's probably just one area. Don't get me wrong, there's times when it literally feels like every area of our lives is going tits up. But actually, when you look at it, sometimes you're like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Or you can review a way that actually, to have fun, which is what at a 2 now, I can do this one thing and it will move me to a 4. And actually, it's really simple to do that. So I think it's a real practical way when you're feeling overwhelmed, to pull it out. You've got a tool. You don't need anybody else there. Assess it and think, what action can I take from this? And often there's one area that'll have a domino effect on the other areas. So for me, if I worked on my fun or my finance, I know they will directly impact most of the other areas. So just looking at it from that point of view. So that's just a little glimpse into our human experience and being here and embracing all them human feels and actually giving you a tool to move forward with them. The next bit we're going to move into is heart. And for me, we living this kind of real individualistic Western society where we're all up in our heads, being controlled by thoughts, and our mind is being used as a guide through the world. And don't get me wrong, we need that kind of logical mindset sometimes, but actually what happens is we can very easily listen to that inner critic and the thoughts, take them as fact, and then end up feeling really rubbish about ourselves. The other thing I would say is when we are taking action to get out of our comfort zone, we can get all up in our head. So for instance, Lisa's pull-up thing, even if I was going to try do that, the voice in my head is already going, I can't do that. So I've already set myself up for fail. So sometimes we just need to get out of our head space into our heart. I remember I spoke on a stage in January, and I remember halfway through having this sheer moment of panic and just smiling at the audience, while in my head I'm thinking, fuck, what am I saying next? And I just continued to smile. I took a deep breath. I dropped out of my head and that thinking and panic into my heart space, and then carried on freely speaking from my heart space. And afterwards I said to my friend, oh my God, could you tell that I panicked? And she was like, no, you were so confident. And I loved the little gaps that you give for people to reflect. And I was like, yeah, that's when I was panicking. So clearly it works, because I know for a fact in the past when I get up in my head going, it's so hard to get out of that and not slip down that kind of slippery slope of being up in our heads and then caught in our thoughts. So that's why we should connect to our heart space, because actually we can lead. There's so much wisdom in our heart space and so much energy in our heart space. And I think, you know, when you're in conversation with somebody, when they are speaking freely from the heart rather than using their mind. And that might sound a bit bonkers if this is the first time you've done anything to do with a heart space. But actually it's a very different energy when I'm coming at you from my heart space. I'm coming there with sheer love, compassion, I'm open, and you can feel that. When I'm coming from my mind, I'm probably being analytical and judgy and critical, maybe not towards you, but definitely towards myself and what's coming out my mouth. And could I have said something different? Could I have handled it different? Sometimes it's stopping, getting out of our heads and into our heart space. And I'm just going to do a very little activity with you to kind of introduce you to connecting to the heart space if you've never done this before. And you can do this anytime you get up in your head or you feel overwhelmed and you just want to get out of your mind and the thinking into your heart space and into your body. It's a very different way of working. And I think that you, especially anybody who kind of has their own business or is a leader, you definitely lead from a different place when you're doing it from your heart. So what I say is yes, you need your head, but I lead from my heart and I take my head with me. Rather than leading from my head, I think that in this kind of masculine world that we're in right now, and kind of we're bringing this feminine energy in, that actually the masculine world would see this heart space, heart leading as an emotional thing, and that's not how I see it at all. It's kind of, I see it as my little radar. It's kind of like a magnet for desires and what's right, and using that as a bit of a compass rather than making emotional decisions. That's not how I view it at all. I will take my mind and I will use my mind for my logical decisions, especially within business, but I will use my heart as a compass to feel what feels right and what intuitively feels right. So if you'd like to get yourself comfortable, I'm just going to do a very quick exercise with you. And I'm going to ask, if you feel comfortable to do so, that you gently close down your eyes. And I'm going to ask that you just bring your attention to start with up into your head, into your mind. And I'm just going to give you a moment to sit there and feel and observe what's going on when your attention is in your mind and your thinking. Okay. Now I'm going to ask that you draw your attention down into your chest, into your heart space. So literally imagine drawing energy from your mind, your head, into your heart space, and giving all of your awareness into your heart. And as you breathe, maybe notice that your heart space expands and the energy in that area is expanding. I'm going to ask that you just sit with that area with your awareness and just observe how that feels and what's going on for you there. Maybe with each breath, just notice how the energy in that area grows and your heart space feels expansive. Maybe take the opportunity to ask your heart space what it needs. What does your heart space need right now? And maybe ask your heart space what it wants. And is that different from what it needs? I'm just going to ask you to bring your attention back up into your mind, back into your thoughts and in your head. And recognize if you can feel a change in energy. Maybe a shifting how you feel. And if I was you, I'd be asking myself, how do I feel when I'm in my headspace? And then when you feel ready to, bring your attention back down into your heart space. If it helps you to imagine moving your awareness from your head to your heart, maybe create a rainbow of energy coming from your head into your heart space. And then maybe ask yourself, how do I feel when I'm in my heart space? Okay. When you feel ready to, you can open your eyes and take any notes of anything that came up for you. And when you've took notes, I'd love it if you shared something within the chat that brought tears to my eyes. What emotion was attached to the tears, Tammy?
I'm not 100% sure, really. It was kind of a bit of a relief that my heart was telling me what my head already knew.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Fab. Thank you for sharing that. So if you are in a situation where you are overthinking, panicking, overwhelmed, or trying to make a decision and you want to check in with your head and your heart, you can do something similar to that. Or you can literally just bring your awareness from your head space into your heart space to get out of your head. Hazel, really interesting. I'm very stuck in my head at the moment. My heart wants joy. Interesting. Rachel, in my head, I felt stressy, anxious, and worried. My heart space, my thoughts were more free, knowledgeable, and logical. Awesome. Lindsay, I struggled, mind blank, heart blank, gave up a little. Okay, no problem. And that's the thing, Lindsay. It's if you were totally new to this, it's like, for me, it was always like me kind of doubting, like, what even is this? How do I bring my awareness there? Like, it's mental that you get all up in your head thinking about how to get out of your head, if that makes sense. So what I would say, Lindsay, is maybe sit with it and practice it. Maybe do it again. I think, Lisa, we're sending this recording out to the people that attended. Maybe sit and find this part on the recording again, or find some other kind of heart space expansion, maybe a meditation, and just try tap into that energy within your heart space and see how it feels. Just maybe it is connecting to it, so it's nurturing that relationship, if that makes any sense. Laura, warm feeling in my heart space, more accepting. My head felt narrow space, self-doubt, critical. I always feel a real shift in energy, and I can place where I'm making a decision from or where I'm talking from, because I can feel the energy in it. Shanna, I immediately wanted to head back down to my heart as the headspace felt uncomfortable in the moment. Jodie, head in control, focused, heart heavy, confused, frustrated. That's an interesting one, Jode. Rachel, a way to get into heart space I find was to imagine a flower opening and light coming out. Yeah, that's a great one, like maybe a lotus flower coming from your heart space. Lisa is going to do something else with you in a moment around the heart space, so it'd be interesting to see how you all get on. Let us know, Lindsay, as well. Sophie, in my head it felt fuzzy and tight, anxious, feeling in my chest that I'm getting a lot, being in my head a lot, head warm, feeling of being calm and content. Was that last bit supposed to be heart? Soph? Bex, head was analytical, trying to work out what I was feeling, thinking. Heart just knew what I needed, love and compassion. And that's it. It's like Tammy said that her head and heart were aligned. They both had the same thing going on. Sometimes our head is saying the logical thing and our heart is saying what feels intuitively right. And actually sometimes there is a disconnect there. And it's I've had times where I've had conversations with each part, my head and my heart, and asking what they want and what they need and figuring out the next thing from the different parts of me. You know, sometimes when you have that disconnect and you're like, oh, I can't decide what to do, it could be that you have that disconnect going on. Cass says, head felt very calm and purposeful, heart felt bubbly. Oh, bubbly, I like that. I had the same thing going on, but felt different emotions around those things that I felt that I needed. Interesting. Sophie, yeah, meant heart second. Cool. So I'm just going to hand over to Lise to take over the kind of heart space working.
Hello. So for me, a big way that I learnt to lean into my heart and differentiate between heart and head, and something I work a lot with is colour. Colour for me really helps me visualise and to feel. So I just want you all to think for a moment of a situation today or yesterday, in the past few days, nothing major, nothing too stressful, but something that's pissed you off, something that might have triggered you a little bit, something that's annoyed you. Just think of that. And I want you to think of it from your head, your mind. What does your mind think about that situation? And I want you to give that a colour. When your mind is putting its 2 pence in about this situation, give it a colour. Because our mind is all of our conditioning. Our mind comes from everything that we've learned pre-7 and how that's been reinforced. Our mind is very much our ego. So just give that a colour. Your mind's putting us 2 pence in about this situation. And just write that colour down. And any thoughts or feelings that feel important with that colour. So I had a incident where somebody was giving me advice on why my daughter didn't sleep. My mind was angry and annoyed that I didn't ask for the advice, and someone was telling me what to do with my daughter and they didn't have a clue. And even 2 days later, my mind was chipping in about, you know, who did they think they were, yada, yada, yada. Ego was having a great time. So now I want you to just think about where your heart is and your heart space, and lean into that and give it a colour. What colour is your heart space? And now fill yourself with that colour. Fill that thought, that memory, that situation with that colour. And what does your heart feel about the situation? And then again, write down the colour, write down any thoughts, feelings, emotions. So for me, in the situation I was in, my head was calling this person 10,001 different names because they didn't understand every single thing I tried to help Winter get to sleep. When I drop into my heart space, I can take that step back and realise that, you know, they're coming from the best of intentions. May not help me in the moment, but I can see and feel that someone is coming from a place of good. And when I need to flip from my head into my heart very quickly, for me, I can visualize that. I know my head is generally a blue. I'm coming from my head space, for me, the color is blue. When I want to drop into my heart, I'm dropping into a lovely pink and a purple, like a sunset color. So if I'm in a situation where I want to make that transition very, very quickly, I can think, right, okay, ego is kicking in, my mind's running away with itself. I'm making this situation possibly bigger than it needs to be. I'm feeling this color blue. I'm going to drop into the sunset. I'm going to drop into the pink and the orange. And I'm just going to breathe that color. So we'll just do that quickly. Go into your head, go into your color for your head. Just experience what it's like being in your head. And then drop down into your heart, into that colour of your heart. And feel that, experience it, and breathe that colour in. And breathe out the colour of the head if you need to. And again, just dump anything on your paper that feels appropriate. And again, drop in the chat anything that came up there. If that worked for you, it didn't work for you. Some people love colour. Some people, colour doesn't work for them at all. So don't worry if it didn't work for you. We won't be in any way offended. Excuse me. We're all different. Your head colour is my heart colour blue. And it's funny, isn't it? Like colour is so so different for everybody. Like I love red. Red to me is passion, fire, and just everything that's right with the world. And other people, Helen is like other people is like Helen. Other people, red is just awful and danger and not what they like. Red was my head, purple for my head, yellow for my heart. Red was my head too. Head red, as in red mist, annoyance, frustration. Heart blue, cooler, healing, more acceptance. Wish to guide, support person. Head. So in that situation, if it was to do with somebody else, did how you feel about them change when you were in your head or your heart? Head was smoky, hazy rather than the actual colour. Yeah, I was pissed off with him in my head, but then I felt sad about the behaviour in my heart. Yeah, my heart was very much let it go. Yeah, yes, felt more able to accept their choices and not interfere. Felt more compassionate. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So that concludes our human and our heart. Does anyone have any questions for Helen and I? Please drop them in the chat about the human or about the heart before we move on to our souls. No? Okay, so in terms of soul, we're going to do a little soul journey. I'm just going to take you up into the cosmos and just channel whatever comes through. So for those of you that have been in any of the Red Sisterhood work before or been to our women's circles, you'll be used to me going off on one. For those of you that have come from the training academy, just allow whatever happens to happen and let it wash over you. As Helen said in a post, for anyone that saw that earlier, it may get a little bit weird, but in the best possible way. So just get really comfy. You won't need your pens or your paper until after we've been on our little journey. Won't be a long journey. Helen and I are actually doing great for time. I'm really impressed. We knew it wouldn't last just an hour. Typically, like these are an hour, but we knew we wouldn't manage an hour. But I think we're going to be great. I don't think we'll manage the full hour and a half, so we're all good. Right, get comfy. Make sure your head is supported. Just have a wriggle and a jiggle. Move your bum, move your back. Just be as comfortable as you can, because we are going to go up into the cosmos, deeply relaxed, and go on a little journey. When you're ready, if you haven't already, close your eyes. If you've got anything crossed, just don't cross it for me, because we're working with energy and we really want our energy to flow all through our body. If you have things crossed, don't panic. Everything's intention and you won't miss out. It's just energy can flow easier when things aren't crossed. And I just want you to relax into your body. Just be aware of your body. Be aware of any sounds in the room, sounds around, any sensations. And then just take your attention to your breath. Feel your breath coming in and going out. Don't try to control anything, just allow it to be. In and out. And I want you to imagine that you're about to step onto something and choose what's right for you. We all have things that we enjoy and things that we don't. You can step into a lift, you can walk down some stairs, or you can stand at the top of an escalator. But just imagine that you are going down through the levels of relaxation, down through the levels of your mind, fully relaxing, leaving the human body behind now, moving down through the layers of your mind, into a deep, deep relaxation. Imagine a colour of absolute calm, a colour that just feels like almost sleep. And feel that draw down from the top of your head, down through your body to the very tips of your toes. Fully relaxed now. And when you reach the bottom of wherever you were going down, you have left your human experience behind. And you are standing with me and everyone else on this call, standing in front of a magnificent forest, an enchanted forest full of the most weird and wonderful trees. And you can feel that just on the edge of this forest, it's almost like there's an invisible force field, a change of energy as we step through into the forest. The air is denser, it's thicker. It's almost like when you're outside and it's snowed. And as we move through this forest, we're leaving the 3D world behind completely. And we are moving into a higher vibration, into a 5D dimension. And as we come to the center of this forest, you may experience this energy somewhere in your body. You may feel it in the palms of your hands as you are standing in your power, reclaiming all that you came with, as you are your soul self, the essence of who you are. And in the center of this clearing of this magnificent enchanted forest, there's this huge stone archway with lots of different symbols on and sacred geometry. And it's pulsating with energy. And inside the stone archway is this magical portal. And when you're ready, you're going to take a really big deep breath in. And with anticipation and excitement, we're going to go through this portal. And as soon as you go through this portal, you are transported through the star system, through the cosmos, and out on the other side, into the most magnificent planet you have ever seen. As far as the eye can see, there's lush green grass. In the distance, you can see the clearest water all the way down to the bottom. There are sea creatures and dolphins bobbing around. In the sky, there are 2 moons. There's this huge silhouette of a planet with rings around it. And you just feel amazing, powerful, balanced. And in the center of this lush green field, there's a huge stone circle. We're going to make our way to that circle now. And each and every one of us is going to take a seat that's there just for us. And as we sit down on our seat, it's like something is activated above our head at the top of this stone seat. A symbol appears, our sacred symbol. And just feel that in your body. Just feel something click into place as you align with that symbol, your power symbol, your soul symbol. And feel that beautiful golden thread from your human experience that you've left behind. Here, now, in your heart space, connected fully to your soul's essence. And just allow these words that I will channel to wash over you and help you to get anything that you need to get from this moment right now. And I'm calling in the Venus star beings who are here and want to work with us. I'm thanking Merlin and Mother Mary, who are always standing here beside us, along with Goddess Kali. O kalama kelo maya malo makelo hema. You're all here together to reclaim your birthright. E kaloma kele make ho mahela hu kamalele kele kamana kamo. We are honored and we are so grateful that you are here together to unify your human experience with your heart and your soul. E kalama kelo kamakela mahe o akehe. Some of you will see very clearly that symbol for your soul. For others, it may just be a remembering of who you were and who you are. As we move into the channel chant, just take whatever you need and allow the healing to go wherever it needs to go. O kaleme lalamo, o kaleme lalame, e kaleme leho, o kalamale lome, o ai. Elalome loma, elalome lalome loma, elalome laleme, o kalemare lome lae. And the time has come now for you to be fully present in this incarnation that you find yourself in. The time has come now for you to stand up and rise as who you were born to be. The time has come to accept that things are as they are, but you came here with divine gifts. And just now, if you can, put your hands to your heart space and fully accept and integrate light codes designed specifically for you to integrate into your soul essence and be carried back with us into this human experience. I want you all to just give over to these star beings, something that doesn't serve you, a part of your healing journey that you've struggled with, a layer of the onion that you haven't been able to do on your own. I want you to give it over now, knowing that it will be taken and you will be fully supported in this. You're going to be given a word to bring back with you, a word that will have meaning for you. So just accept that word with gratitude, with love. Knowing there's been deep healing and deep meaning. And then when you're ready, just stand, have a little shake, and make your way back across the field. We're going to go back through the portal, which will bring us down from the cosmos, back into that wonderful, enchanted forest. And we're going to make our way back through the forest. And every time we put our left foot down, we're going to leave behind the 5D world. And every time we put our right foot down, we're going to be going right back into Mother Earth, into Gaia, fully grounding. By the time we exit that forest, we are fully present and back in our bodies. And just really imagine anchoring your feet into the soil or into the beach, fully present here. Become aware again of any sounds in your room, aware of your body on the chair. Start to have a wriggle and a jiggle again. Move your fingers, move your toes, roll your shoulders if you need to, and just preparing to awaken refreshed. And when you're ready and in your own time, just open your eyes, return to the room, and just dump on your paper anything that's come up, anything at all that's come up for you. And what I'm going to do there is ask Helen if there's anything she'd like to share. If not, we will end the recording there. And then it'd be really nice if we could share our words or share our experience in the chat, or you can speak, but we'll